This episode is brought to you by State Farm. From your morning podcast to your afternoon playlist, State Farm knows you personalize your entire day, and that's why State Farm helps you personalize your insurance with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. It offers coverage options that help protect what you care about most at an affordable price just for you. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
What's up, everybody? This is Dark Macek with Brutally Delicious, coming at you with a review of Elvenking's brand new album, Reader of the Runes, Luna. So, I've known Elvenking since roughly 2009 or so. They were a band that I always kind of liked, but only in recent years have I become a fan. My interest in them perked up after 70,000 Tons of Metal 2023, and especially last year after seeing them open for Ailstorm. They're a rare band where I think their later material is way better than their earlier material. I started out with the Scythe, but the one that always got me was the Pagan Manifesto. And after hearing this album, I think I might have a new favorite. To be as clear as I can, the band did not reinvent the Elvenking wheel on this album. It still sounds like Elvenking. You've got their great blend of folk and kind of power metal. But there were a lot of moments on this album where I thought to myself, gee, they took a risk here and it paid off. Or this is way heavier than I ever thought I would hear on an Elvenking album. In a way, I was reminded of the second Visions of Atlantis Pirates album, which came out last year, which also saw the band really expanding what their sound was. While I would not describe Elvenking as progressive metal, there were definitely some progressive moments here and times where the song structure was pretty unpredictable. In a way, it's like everything good about progressive stuff with none of the pretension, and I say that as I'm wearing a Dream Theater shirt. Cool, so let's talk about some songs. Season of the Owl is a killer opener. Super metal right off the bat. There's like 10 seconds of atmospheric introduction. I bet this would make a great walkout song whenever they play their shows. They play that as they're walking out, and then the band just goes full gear. It's so cool. There are some really fun changes to this. It takes a little bit to become folky, but the rest is so good that I'll just call it a great experimentation. A lot of this is just great metal music that, in the best way possible, you don't immediately categorize it. You're just like, damn, this is good. Luna. Here's a little bit more of a typical Elvenking track. It's melodic and pretty folky. Nice melody, nice vocals, and a nice song. Definitely a standout, but most of the album was. Gone Epoch. This is more folky. I think this could have been like an electric, upbeat tavern hit. I always like songs that sound like they could have been played in medieval tavern, like the Bard song by Blind Guardian is the most boring example out there. But this one is upbeat. It's not a ballad. It's electric. Maybe it's like adjacent to medieval metal. It doesn't sound like Saltatio Mortis or anything like that, but it is a similar vibe. On These Haunted Shores. This is pretty heavy for them to the point where I forgot I was listening to Elvenking, and I thought it was Amon Amarth at first. But then his voice came in, and, it's pretty distinctive. I'm like, oh yeah, they're just, changing up a bit. I was actually occasionally reminded of Bloodbound here. This chorus sounds like it could have been a collaboration, which is a great thing because Bloodbound writes great choruses. Throes of Atonement. Give me that double bass, motherfucker. It's a great folky burner, and it's kind of everything I want from Elvenking. The verse is actually almost dancey, not in a folk way, but in like a, dance way. And that's not a double bass burner. But otherwise, this song hits so hard. It would pretty much be at home on an Encephalum album, which, high praise. I love them. Last but not least, we have the 11-minute album closer, Reader of the Runes, Book 2. This was epic. It's an amazing movement. I don't mean an amazing song. I mean, I was actually reminded of like when people describe this 4-piece Beethoven thing that has 4 movements. Forgive my awful musical vocabulary when it comes to anything that's not metal. This song is very adventurous. It climbs. It absolutely deserved its length. It was over way before I thought it would be, and I knew it was going to be an 11-minute track. There's a lot of really great tempo variations here, and I don't just mean like when it switches between soft and acoustic and then loud and heavy. I mean that sometimes it's just straightforward metal, and sometimes you're going a bit slower, and sometimes you've got drums that are practically a blast beat. But within the same metal sections, you can vary it up without just doing cliche soft, heavy, soft, heavy. It's like heavy and heavier. Okay, so we've got another album of the year contender right now. This is absolutely something I'm going to listen to again tomorrow, and then I'll go back and listen to Elven Legions and probably listen to all the albums I forgot about. I cannot accentuate enough that the band had a great deepening here. I don't want to say they evolved because that makes people think they had a stylistic change. I just think the songwriting became way more sophisticated. And for a band that's coming up on 25 years since their debut, that's incredible. Thanks so much for this, dudes. Please come back to the US and headline. If not, get back on 70K or like Mad with Power next year. Rock on.
Hi, I'm Hal Schwartz.
And I'm Flynn McLean. We want to tell you about our podcast, None But the Brave, which is dedicated to taking a deep dive into the work of Bruce Springsteen.
We're currently in our 5th season. Our latest episodes focus heavily on Bruce's 2024 tour and have featured such guests as Anthony Castrovince from MLB Network and Barstool's Kirk Minahan.
We're also covering the 40th anniversary of Bruce's biggest record, Born in the USA. And as part of that, coming up this week, Uprock's cultural critic Stephen Hyden returns to the show for a fascinating hour-long conversation about his new book, There Was Nothing You Could Do, Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA and the End of the Heartland.
To listen, you can go to our website, mbtbpodcast.com, or subscribe on your preferred podcasting platform.
We hope to see you further on up the road.
Thank you so much. We'll be seeing you.